superstar? Which one are you tonight?
Let's go with Mountain Stew tonight.
Right. So, thanks for joining us. And so, how did you get into wrestling?
How did I get into wrestling? So, I've been a huge fan since I was, 5 years old? Not going to tell you when I was 5 years old, that'd be showing my age. Yeah, an enormous fan. Always had the toys, watched it on TV, had the videos, sticker albums, all that sort of thing. And then went on to be a big fan right into my 20s. I remember one day I was just playing one of the SmackDown vs. Raw games on my PlayStation 3. And a friend of my mum's came in and he said, "Oh, you like wrestling?" I was like, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, I know a wrestler." I went, No, you don't. Because, back then I wasn't smartened up. I didn't realise it was a big UK scene. That was 2008, late 2008. And I said, yeah, who do you know? And he said, "Oh, I know a guy called Mike Mendoza." I was like, "No, I don't know who that is." He said, yeah, he's a wrestler. I said, "Okay." So he said, do you want his contact details?" I said, "Yeah, cool." So he gave me his details, and I hit him up on Facebook and said, "Oh, hey, someone's put me in touch with you." He said, you're a wrestler. And he was like, yeah, I trained down at NWA Hammerlock in Maidstone. He said, "But it doesn't exist anymore. It's closed down." I was like, "Oh, that's a shame." He said, "But there's a school down in Purfleet, Dropkicks. It's run by a guy called John Ritchie." And he said, he's a really good teacher. He used to teach at NWA Hammerlock. You might want to go down there. So I went down there, 24 years old, whatever. I'm just going to go there for a laugh, see what it's like. Went there one Sunday session, absolutely loved it, fell in love with it. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since now. So it's coming up to, how long's it going to be? 12 years in March I've been wrestling for.
So, were you a fan growing up?
Huge fan. Yeah. I was probably a fan even before the Attitude Era came out. So I started watching wrestling really just as kind of Hogan was on his way out. So yeah. I really caught Bret Hart's run. So Bret Hart was someone I naturally gravitated towards because even though Hogan obviously is a great wrestler and really admire his accomplishments, there was something about Bret Hart that really resonated with me. I think it was his style, the way he connected with the audience. His matches were different. They told stories. You could always get a good match out of his opponent. So, yeah, I kind of got introduced to it around about the early 90s, but Bret Hart was the one I really gravitated towards.
So, was there a standout match that you thought, yeah, this is what I want to be involved in?
Back then, or just in general?
Just in general.
The one that got me really hooked was SummerSlam 1992, was Bret Hart versus British Bulldog. That match was absolutely incredible, and I wished I could have been there because I was old enough that my parents could have taken me, but we never went, so I'd see it on TV. So I think then I was like, I would love to do this, absolutely love it. But I don't know, the match that I thought I could absolutely see myself doing this was, I think it was Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 21. Like they went out and they put on a 5-star clinic. And that's when I thought, I'd absolutely love to do this. And that was a couple of years before I actually got involved in it. But I think that's when I really started considering, can you imagine if this was big in the UK and there was opportunities like there are in the United States?
Brilliant. So, talking about the UK, have you got any favourite matches that you could talk about?
That I've had in the UK or that I've seen in the UK?
For you personally.
My one's personally. Yeah, the one that really stands out to me was a few years ago was one I had with Lewis Howley. And Lewis Howley's now part of NXT UK. And that was a dropkick show. So that was around about 2015, either 14 or 15. We had a match in Essex. I can't remember where exactly it was, but we had a match and we were always booked kind of quite low on the card on those shows back then. And we were really hungry. He'd been in a sort of a tag team for years and years. And I'd felt like, I'd been around for a bit and I really wanted to sort of rise up the card. So we were given quite a bit of time. We were given 20 minutes. We said, you know what, we want to just go out there and tear the absolute house down. Yeah. And we did. And I remember we had such a good match that afterwards everyone stood up and gave us a standing ovation. And then I remember coming backstage and my trainer at the time, John Ritchie, went, that was a really, really good match. You could tell that you really, really wanted it. But yeah, that one really, really stands out for me. But then I, quite a few really, really good matches at IPW that I'm pretty proud of. I had a pretty good one with Sid Scala, which I really, really enjoyed. Quite a memorable tables match with Muscles Mansfield. Enjoyed that one. Wow, so many. So many. But the one that really, really stands out in my mind is the one with Lewis Howley. That was the one that really, I thought I really took it to the next level.
So, are there any opponents where, when you see you're on the card with them, think to yourself, yeah, okay, now I'm in for a war?
Yes, absolutely. So I remember the first time I was going to wrestle Earl Black Jr., I was like, oh dear, okay, I know I'm going to be in for a fight here. He's an amazing wrestler, but really, really snug, I'll say. I mean, not stiff, snug. But yeah, we really went to war in that match, I remember. Another one, I had a match with Malik a couple of years ago, and wow. I was quite sore after that match. But again, really, really good. Another one is Andreas Kor. Formerly used to be part of the tag team, the Ruckers. Nick Andreas used to be known as. But yeah, me and Andreas went out there, and yeah, we absolutely went to war, pummeled each other, because that was when I was wrestling as Mountain Stew. So yeah, I was taking quite a bit of heat from Andreas for putting him for a war at the start of the match. But yeah, those are the three that really come to mind where I felt a bit delicate the next day.
So, what's your first memory of UKPW?
So, I saw things of UKPW on Facebook. So I started wrestling at Dropkicks, and then I went over to IPW's training school. And I remember it was during that time I really wanted to start branching out to other wrestling promotions. And then I started adding like local ones. I remember seeing UKPW, and the first person I saw was Fentos. And I was like, Fentos, I trained with him. He's wrestling for this company. What company is that? And I looked, and it was UKPW. And I saw there was a particular show that they were putting on in Falconwood. Now, Falconwood's not too far away from where I actually grew up. So I was quite intrigued. I thought, okay, so this is a local Kent promotion. This sounds good. And I looked into it, and I saw that Anton Green was promoting it. And I remember Anton, because he came to one of our Dropkick shows and had one of his first retirement matches against Lewis Barrett. So I remember Anton. I dropped Anton a message, and I said, saw that, you're promoting a wrestling company. I don't know if you remember me. I'm from Dropkicks. I've been wrestling for 5 years or so. If you've got a spot on your show, I'd love to be part of it. And Anton, no messing about, he got back and said, yeah, absolutely. Love to use you on one of our shows. When are you free? And I ended up doing my first show at Falconwood, at the one place where I saw a show sort of, 6 months back and really wanted to be part of it. So that was my first memory of coming across it. My first memory of actually being part of it was the first show that I wrestled for. So that was March 2017, again in Falconwood. And that was against Farron Hussey, or as he was wrestling back then as Earl Robert Rose, I think, Robert Rochester Rose or something like that. And I remember before the match, I wanted to plan all this crazy stuff. And there's actually a gif of me, or a short clip, where he throws me into the corner. He comes into charge, I roll over him, he rolls, and I kick him. And that's what made one of the UKPW sort of greatest hits. So that was quite a special moment for me. That was my first memory of being part of UKPW. And I remember Haddy as well, the tycoon, coming up to me and saying, Mountain Stew, I really want to do this skit with you afterwards when you spit some Mountain Dew in my face. Like, okay. So yeah, that's my first memory of really being part of UKPW.
So what's your favourite moment in UKPW?
That I've been part of, or that I've observed?
Just in general.
Ooh, there's been quite a few. I mean, I was quite honoured when me and Lewis Barrett got nominated like sort of Rising Star Tag Team one year. The stupid weights were known as. That was a lot of fun. But I remember one, and I actually remember you, Ross. You even popped as well. It was a time when me and Lewis Barrett were wrestling a big multi-man match. I think Smart Money was in it, and I forget the other. team. But anyway, it was a big multi-man tag team match, and they were all brawling outside. And Fentos convinced me to climb up to the top turnbuckle and do a dive right out onto everyone. And I'd never done that before. And I said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. And he went, no, you've absolutely got to. Did it, and as I come down, kneed him straight in the face. So later on, he said, I wish I hadn't told you to do that. But yeah, that was a pretty special moment, I believe. Another one that was really memorable for me was when I turned and became last true superstar at UKPW.
Yeah.
And I remember you, Ross, saying as well, that was completely left field. You didn't expect that, because me and Sid and Ellie had a really, really good little match. We told a good story. I was getting frustrated, whatever. He got the better of me, and then, yeah, at the end, pulled him. So that was quite a special moment as well, because that was the first time I turned heel at UKPW, normally universally loved, then I became universally hated.
Yeah, I mean, I actually called that match with Stephen.
Right.
And, I just love the way that story built and built.
Yeah.
Until you just... Yeah.
That's what I love about wrestling, just storytelling, you know. And it's so funny that me and Sid, we weren't supposed to be booked on that show. Well, not in that match. We were supposed to be doing other things. And then circumstances arose and we came together, and Anton came to me and he said, you know what? I think it's time to bring in the last true superstar. And he said, have you got your last true superstar gear with you? I said, well, I do. I said, but what if we did it this way, where I turn on Sid? Because Sid's one of the most lovable characters at UKPW. What if we told a story where I'm getting sick of it, that he keeps on out shining me, making me look silly, and in the end, bang, I just turned. And yeah, it absolutely worked. So that was a lot of fun.
I was actually genuinely shocked on the commentary. I don't know if you...
Yeah. You see, if I'm working you, Ross, who...
But, so, have you ever had any injuries?
Yeah, a couple of serious ones. Well, I'll say serious, but pretty bad. Put me out of action for a while. So the first one was when I was at Dropkicks. So it was around 2012. It was actually a training session. Now, I'm not really a high flyer. I'll give the illusion that I am, but I'm not. But in training, I really, really wanted to try a frog splash. So did it at first with a crash mat, no problem, that sort of thing. Like, okay, now I'm going to try it without a crash mat, take a high front bump, and then eventually I'd work my way to having an opponent. So did the crash mat, not a problem. Get up there's no crash mat, and I remember jumping, and I kind of lost my nerve as I was flying down. Then I sort of put my feet down to stop me. My foot just went one way like that, and yeah, it put me out for months. And I remember at the time I was Dropkicks' cruiserweight champion, and I had to relinquish the title. Oh no! So it was just absolute poor timing. And another one is that I've actually got at times a really, really bad back. So I remember first time I think it was around 2013. I had a really, really bad back, and I had to have sort of physiotherapy to put me back to normal. But then I remember in 2017, it came back. And again, it was just normally my injuries come through training sessions. It's crazy. Touch wood, I've never actually had any matches. But me and Fentos were doing a training session for IPW. And it was a simple move. He just whipped me into the corner. I did an up and over. Supposed to land on my feet. Well, I did land on my feet. And then just my back just gave way completely. And then, yeah, that wiped me out for months. And again, I had to go back for physiotherapy. So those are the two, when I nearly broke my foot and, my back. But now, through doing sort of yoga, a lot of stretching, a lot of running, taking care of myself. Obviously, I've had a nice break now because of Corona. So, yeah, my back's in good shape.
Have you got any opponents as such?
Any memorable opponents, you say?
Dream opponents?
Oh, dream opponents. Yeah, I mean, obviously one can dream of once you wrestle in America. I mean, I'd love to wrestle someone like Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, but sort of closer to home, the two I've really, really wanted to wrestle, I've always wanted to wrestle Johnny Storm. So Johnny Storm was actually the first wrestler I saw on the UK scene. So I remember years back, I went to some autograph signing in Birmingham, and Johnny was out. I couldn't even tell you what the wrestling promotion was, but it was kind of set up in between all different stalls of people signing autographs, and there was a ring, and at various moments during the day there'd be impromptu matches. And Johnny came out and just loved the way he was getting the crowd going and that sort of thing. And then years later, met Johnny at shows. He took us for training. Been backstage with him many, many times at UKPW, IPW, whatever else. But I've never had the chance to wrestle him. And I really think, genuinely, that me and Johnny would have a really, really good match. I think our styles would complement each other and we'd have a lot of fun. So Johnny's definitely one. And the other one I've really wanted to wrestle, and I hope he isn't retired after all this, is RJ Singh. Always wanted to wrestle RJ. Thought he was a great wrestler, great guy. You know, I've had him for training before, fantastic trainer. And again, he's just one of these people. I think our styles would mesh well, you know. Similar sort of background in terms of training and how we look at wrestling. So yeah, RJ and Johnny Storm from the UK scene, most definitely.
Well, hopefully they're listening and...
yeah, Johnny, if you're watching this, I want to wrestle you. And you, RJ, too.
Right, so... Last couple of questions here. Who would you say is your closest friend in the industry?
So, currently in the industry, my closest friend is Fentos. So, Fentos is the person I've travelled with the most, I've trained with the most, I've had the most matches with. He's someone I can just go out there and we don't even have to plan anything. We can just go out there and wrestle and be entertaining. I know what all his stuff is. He knows what mine is. We know what's funny. We know what's not. We know when to be serious. We know when a match is not getting over the crowd, what to do. So, yeah, and Fentos has got a very warped sense of humour, same as mine. So every now and again, he'll just send me something stupid that he's seen and I'll do the same to him or whatever else. And every now and again, he'll send me like a Mountain Stew or Mountain Dew pun or something like that. So, yeah, Fentos is definitely my closest friend in the industry at the moment. One of my best pals ever I met for wrestling was a guy called Daniel Eels, or Eelsy is his name. So he was predominantly a drop kicks wrestler and did some LDN as well and hammerlock in the day as well. But he's a really good friend of mine, but he's retired now. But yeah, currently in the scene, Fentos, that guy is the yin to my yang.
Oh, yeah, speaking of Fentos, there was a match, it was a Dow Jones match. I can't remember the opponent, but I was obviously on commentary and Dow decided that he wanted his own ring announcer or his own personal fight. So he got Fentos to actually take me out of the ring, take me out of the commentary table.
Yeah.
So that was it. It was Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could just see me with my back to the crowd. So,
what do you do? What do you do, eh? Those two are hilarious when they get together. Their timing, their chemistry, their presence, and it's great. And that's why I've always loved doing tag matches with them because, you know, I've tagged with Buff Broadside against those two, Lewis Barrett against those two. They're really funny guys. And sometimes when you're wrestling, it's really hard not to corpse. You know, you're really trying to be serious, but they're just cracking you up laughing. You're like, I can't.
Yeah, no, I've had a few of those experiences on commentary. I thank you, James Earls. So we'll finish off with a bit of word association.
Sure.
So first word that pops into your head, Superman Alley.
Rising Star. I know that's 2 words, but that's how I see him. Rising Star.
Muscle Man's
Veteran.
Trashman Marcus Brown.
Trash!
James Mason.
Oh, legend. Loved wrestling him. How can I forget him? He was an amazing guy to wrestle. Yeah, legend.
And finally, the UKPW champion, Dow Jones.
Money, money, money! Couldn't resist that one.
I'm sure I'll appreciate that.
I hope so.
Well, thank you for joining me for UKPW Insider.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Brilliant.